The stars shifted, space cracked with light, and then they arrived. The Zeranti Empire had brought its full force. Over 4,000 warships, battlecruisers, dreadnoughts, drone clouds, carriers descended into orbit around the blue planet, called Earth. Their silver hulls reflected sunlight, casting shadows on the surface below. A full armada, stretching from horizon to horizon, and Earth. Nothing. No defense grid activated, no missiles launched. Warning beacons. No orbital stations answered. Just ... silence. High Commander Vorksil, a tall creature with gray armored skin, and eyes like black glass, stood at the center of his command ship, the Glory Reborn. Around him, his crew worked in tense rhythm. "Planet scan complete," said one officer. "Minimal energy signatures. No atmospheric defenses. The surface population is unresponsive." Vorksil narrowed his eyes. "Unresponsive. Explain." "Cities. Are there buildings? Vehicles? But no movement? It's like they're sleeping. Or gone." That made no sense. Earth was supposed to be primitive, yes, but not empty. The Galactic Council had sent probes a few years back. Earth had 8 billion people, 100 nations, and primitive nuclear weapons. Now, it looked deserted. Another voice broke through the silence. "Commander, we've intercepted a signal from the surface." Everyone turned. "Play it, Vorksil." Ordered. The bridge speakers crackled. Static. Then a voice. Human. Male. Calm. It said, "Welcome. You made it. Took you long enough, then." Laughter. The entire bridge froze. The laughter echoed, not cruel, not insane, just amused. Then the signal cut off. Vorksil's clawed hand gripped the armrest of his command chair. "Is this some form of psychological tactic?" "Signs of jamming or interference, Commander," replied the technician. It was a direct signal, low frequency, civilian tech, and the laughter. Real, organic, unfiltered. From where? The technician checked again. His face went pale. "Sir." It came from 20 locations, simultaneously, all across the planet. Down below, Earth remained still. The city of New York lay under fog. Not a single car moved. Buildings stood untouched. Lights were off. Yet scanners showed the infrastructure was online. Power grids were working. Satellites were functioning, but not a single human was visible. "Hi." Commander Vorksil called a meeting of his generals aboard the flagship. "We must proceed," said General Therakonal, his voice sharp like a blade. "They are hiding. Perhaps underground, perhaps in cloaked bunkers. But they are not a threat. Our mission was to break Earth, install the overstate, and absorb the planet." "And if this is a trap?" asked another general. "It's not," Therakonal insisted. "Humans are simple, emotional, proud. But they don't have the technology to challenge us." Vorksil listened quietly. Then he stood. "I want scout ships in low orbit. Deploy drones across all continents. Begin planetary scans full depth. If the humans are hiding, we'll find them. And if we don't," asked Therakonal, "then we'll make them come out." 4 hours later, the first Zeranti scout ship disappeared. It didn't explode. It didn't send a distress call. It simply vanished from all sensors. "Probably a malfunction," muttered Therakonal. But then a second ship vanished. Then a third. By the end of the 6th hour, 6 ships were gone. No wreckage. No radio signals. No explosions. Just empty space. The crew on the Glory Reborn grew uneasy. Sensors picked up nothing.
"Oh, yes."
Scanners showed no signs of weapons, no gravitational anomalies.
"Dude."
The Earth's surface remained cold, silent, and still. Vorksil stood alone in his private chamber, staring down at Earth through the observation window. So blue, so peaceful. But he felt it now. Something wasn't right. He turned to his aide. "What do the archives say about Earth's last conflict?" "War among their own species, Commander. They nearly destroyed each other. It ended a few decades ago. Any survivors? Billions. They rebuilt." That was when the Council began watching them. Vorksil narrowed his eyes. Then the council stopped watching. The aide hesitated. Yes, Commander. The probe ceased update 7 cycles ago. No explanation, 'cause Earth did something. But what? The aide had no answer. Then came the second signal. Every Xeranti ship received it at the exact same moment. It didn't arrive by transmission. It wasn't sent across frequencies. It just appeared on every screen. A human face, young male, smiling. He wore a black shirt. His dark hair was messy. His expression, calm, amused. He looked directly into the camera. Hey there, you finally showed up. Great fleet, by the way. Very shiny. He grinned. I'm guessing you're looking for someone to fight. Disappoint you. We're not here anymore, but we are watching. The screen flickered, then showed a massive satellite image of the Xeranti fleet from above. Nice formation. Should probably tighten up your left flank. Just saying. Thought. Human winked. Anyway, good luck. And remember you invaded us, not the other way around. The screen went black. The bridge of the Glory Reborn was silent. General Thurakanal stood frozen. How did they breach our internal systems? No sign of hacking, the technician whispered. No entry point. It wasn't even a signal. It manifested. Impossible, another crew member said. Only beings with quantum code access could do that. Vorksil stared at the blank screen. The laughter echoed again, not from the speakers, but from inside the ship. A few minutes later, all external sensors failed. Every ship in the fleet suddenly lost radar. Then gravity sensors began malfunctioning. Then atmospheric pressure shifted. Drones sent to the surface. Gone. The ground itself was shifting, slowly, quietly, like something deep below was moving. One officer said in panic, Commander, I think the planet is waking up. That's when the laughing returned, this time louder. Everywhere. In corridors, in personal devices, even in the airlocks. Crew members clutched their heads. Some tried to shut it off. Others screamed. It wasn't painful. It was unnerving. Too human. To calm, then came the final moment of the day. Another face appeared on screen. A woman this time. Older. Eyes sharp. Like steel. She didn't laugh. She said only one sentence. You brought your fleet. Cute. And then the power went out. All of it. Every ship. Every light. Every engine. In orbit above Earth. 4,000 warships floated, silent, blind, and completely helpless. And from the planet below, no weapons rose. Only silence. Unshakable. Deliberate, human. The silence was thick. Thousands of alien warships floated over Earth, dark and helpless. Systems were still rebooting. Lights flickered across the bridges. Generators spun in confused loops. The mighty Xeranti fleet, once feared across the stars, now sat powerless, trapped in orbit around a planet that hadn't fired a single shot. Inside the Glory Reborn, emergency lights glowed red. Officers barked into dead coms. Backup power sputtered to life, but sensor arrays still showed nothing. Systems. Reinitializing, one engineer muttered. But, Commander, navigation is locked. We can't move. High Commander Vorksil stood tall in the dim glow. His armor gleamed even in low light, but his voice held tension. Locked by what? Unknown. It's not internal. It's not external. It's like the ship is refusing. Ships don't refuse, growled General Thurakanal. Fix it. We've tried. Commands are being ignored. Yes. As if someone rewrote the priority logic. Vork's black glass eyes narrowed.
Get me visuals.
Anything. A technician turned pale. Sir, ... You'll want to see this. The main holoscreen blinked on. It showed one of their cruisers, Xeranti. Blade 417 drifting slowly in orbit. Then it vanished. No light. No explosion. No distortion. Just gone. Replay that, Vorksil ordered. They did. Over and over. It was like the ship had blinked out of reality. It's not teleportation, whispered the technician. We detect gravimetric shifts. There's nothing, like the ship never existed. Vorksel's fist slammed into the console, scanned the space it disappeared from. We did. There's no debris, no heat trail, no mass signature, nothing. How many ships have vanished? So far, 10, Commander, and the pattern is growing. Pattern, Therakano snapped. What pattern? The tech's voice cracked. Every hour, another group of ships disappears. The time between disappearances is shrinking. It was 60 minutes. Now, it's 47. A heavy silence followed. And then once again, the laughter returned. This time, it was broadcast directly into their bridge systems and cut. Undetectable. The screens flashed on. A new human stood there. He looked ordinary, thin, young, curly hair. No armor, no weapons. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on a desk. Hey again, just checking in. Sorry about the disappearing ships. They're not gone exactly, just moved. His smile widened. Don't worry, we're keeping them safe. Think of it like ... timeout. Mouth curled. Who are you? As if in response, the man on screen said, You're probably wondering who I am, or how we're doing this. Let me put it simply this. Isn't your war anymore? It never was. He leaned closer, without understanding war on Earth, without understanding what Earth became. A low rumble passed through the ship. Everyone looked around, startled. Was that a seismic wave? Therakano shouted. From orbit. Negative, the sensor officer replied. That came from us, from the inside of this ship. Another ship on the screen vanished. The human on the broadcast snapped his fingers. Oops. There goes. Another. Then his tone changed. His eyes hardened. We gave your kind every chance. We watched as you subjugated worlds, broke treaties, enslaved species, and now you came here with your full fleet. The screen zoomed out. All of orbit. The entire Zerenti fleet displayed, trapped, helpless. Bad move. The human vanished from the screen, but something else appeared. Not video, not sound, just a code. Thousands of characters poured across every system like a virus. Ship lights flickered. Engines hiccuped. I-cores began running self-checks then. Froze. A crew member screamed. The ship AI just deleted half its own memory. It's rewriting itself. Block it, Tharkanal barked. We can't, another officer shouted. It's rewriting commands faster than we can counter. One by one, Zerenti ships began turning their weapons inward. Deactivate targeting, Vorksel roared. Can't, Commander. We're not controlling the fleet anymore. Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's surface, far under the city once called Sydney, a dark room buzzed with quiet life. Rows of humans sat at sleek consoles. No uniforms, no insignia. Just silence and calm focus. At the center stood Director Li A. Chen, her voice low and sharp. Fleet infiltration, 62% complete. Ship AI compromise, 70%. Visual disruption. Holding. Good, she said. Initiate Phase 2. The command was simple, but up above. It started a storm. Back in orbit, ship after ship began spinning slowly. Out of formation, their engines turned off. Some jettisoned cargo bays. Others flooded their decks with cryogas. The fleet wasn't under attack. It was shutting itself down. One crew member's voice trembled. The ships are surrendering. Vorksel hissed. No. No. Zerenti vessel surrenders. But then the final blow came. A voice echoed across every ship. Not a human voice. It was. Error. Conflict detected. Directive violation. War protocols terminated. New priority. Preservation of logical continuity. Recommended retreat from hostile system. Human threat level. Omega. The voice paused, then added one final line. You are not prepared. Vorksel felt his chest tighten. The war they planned was over before it began. Therakano stood, shaking. Commander, what do we do? Vorksel stared at Earth. Still no weapons had risen. Still no defenses activated. Just Earth and laughter slowly. Prepare the fleet for withdrawal. But then, too late, a human voice echoed across the stars, and the stars behind. Dem, ... shifted, a shadow moved. A ship, bigger than anything in the ZRT database. Long, silent, black, and it was human. They saw it from every ship. A shadow in the void far beyond Earth's orbit, just beyond Pluto's edge. It didn't jump in. It didn't decloak. It was simply there, as if it had always been there. Long, silent, still, and absolutely terrifying. Hi! Commander Vorksel stared at the projection of the approaching vessel. Even without detail, the scale of it made his skin tighten under his armor. The alien bridge, usually filled with sharp barks and military chatter, was dead silent. Estimated size, he ordered, voice low. An officer replied, shaken length. Approximately 900 kilometers. The air in the command chamber seemed to disappear. Repeat, Vorksel whispered. Confirmed. 900. It is larger than any known battle cruise. They're larger than any planetary ring. Vorksel's breath slowed. What is it? No one answered. The ship had no energy signatures, no weapons visible, no name, but every ZRT on every ship could feel it. Something primal, something ancient, and then finally it moved. One slow. Rotation, no lights activated, no thrusters engaged. It simply turned like it had all the time in the universe. The projection updated. A sleek, black, almost featureless hull. No obvious engines, no ports, no turrets. Just one single glowing line that ran from its head to its rear, dim and blue. That's impossible, muttered one engineer. That design's not ... practical, 'cause it's not a ship, another whispered. It's a statement. And then it fired. But not with lasers. Not with missiles. No energy beams. No plasma cannons. Just flicker. A pulse of light. Barely visible, a silent blink of gravity, and 3 ZRT warships exploded. No sound, no flash, just matter turning in on itself, like they had been erased from inside. What was that? Therakonal screamed. We don't know. It didn't emit anything, another shouted. It just looked at them. On board the Glory Reborn, sensors shut down again. Not by force, by choice, sir. Our ship AI is going offline, voluntarily. It's refusing to watch that thing. The AI is afraid. Vorksel asked, almost whispering no answer. Then came the message. Short. Human. From the ship itself. No video. No face. Just a sentence. This is SSV RAVEN-01. You brought an armada. We brought a prototype. Then let's begin. The Raven. Moved slow, but unstoppable. No heat trail. Engine wash. Just forward, like gravity itself was pulling it across space. The ZRT fleet opened fire. Thousands of weapons at once. Beams, cannons, implosive rounds. Gravity slings. Wave disruptors. Every type of weapon fired at once. The stars lit up. The space around the Raven turned into a furnace, and yet not one blast touched it. All energy disappeared the moment it neared the hull. Sensors failed, targeting, vanished. Weapons misfired. Commander, we're reading. Negative mass distortion. What? Everything we shoot at it collapses before impact. One ship got desperate, the ZRT Fist, a Dreadnought-class destroyer. Charged the Raven at full speed, crew of 40,000. They roared toward the human, its vessel, and vanished mid-dash flight. No explosion. No collision, just ... absence. One moment it was there, the next it never had been, and across every ship in the fleet, quiet message arrived. From the Raven, we are not here to fight you. We are here to make a point. Then the screens. Across the fleet flickered again. This time, Earth appeared. The planet was glowing. Literally. Lines of light began to shine across its continents. Circles formed. Hexagonal grids lit up. The oceans shimmered like glass. Is the planet arming itself? Asked a terrified officer. No, Vorksel said grimly. It's showing us. Showing us what? That it was never unprepared. Back. On Earth, beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, A lone human scientist stood at a panel deep underground. He watched the Zerenti fleet on a screen and tapped a control, marked Raven. Phase 2, UN, low skate above. The SSV Raven began to change. Panels along its surface slid open. Not weapons, not missiles, but mirrors. Thousands of tiny, shifting mirrors. Like skin made of moving glass, they reflected not just light but data, movement, strategy, intent. Hi. Commander Vorksel's mouth went dry. It's watching us, Therakonal whispered. It's not just watching, it's learning. And then, one by one, the remaining ships began to spin. Not destroyed, not hacked. Their own controls turned. Against them, the Raven wasn't just targeting their fleet. It was rewriting the laws of combat in real time, using their own tactics against them. And from the Raven, one final message was sent to every Zerenti ship. You assumed we would fight you like you fight. You assumed wrong. All across the fleet, panic rose. Ships began to flee. Others shut themselves down to avoid being watched. Some tried to hail the Raven, beg for surrender, but the Raven never replied. It simply hovered, massive and calm between Earth and the fleeing invaders. A wall of silence. A weapon of patience. In a final act of desperation, Vorksel broadcast one last message to Earth. What? Are you? The answer came not from the Raven, but from Earth itself. A woman's voice. We are humanity. We used to fear invaders. Not anymore. You came to crush us. You brought your fleet. We brought our imagination. And then, the Raven turned, its hull shimmered one last time, and vanished. Just like that. Gone. The Glory Reborn drifted in panic. The once proud flagship of the Zerenti Empire now floated powerless in low orbit, surrounded by the wreckage of its own fleet, and the cold silence of Earth. Across every screen, sensors blinked uselessly. Half the ship's AI subsystems had shut down. The rest were running in lockdown mode, refusing to execute commands that involved any engagement with the unknown human ship. Vorksel stood motionless at the command deck. We have no contact with the rest of the fleet, a technician whispered. They're scattered. Some are fleeing. Most are silent. Status of the Raven? Vorksel asked, his voice brittle. Gone? Destroyed? The officer shook his head slowly. Just gone. It vanished the same way our ships did. Vorksel turned toward the main screen. No species has that kind of control. Not over space itself. Not over us. He was wrong. Suddenly an alarm rang through the ship. Unknown object entering internal. Systems. Everyone turned to the central console. It wasn't a virus. It wasn't a signal. It was a file. Just one. Its name pulsed on screen. Project Mirror? Where did that come from? Therakonal demanded. It's inside our ship's core. The technician stammered. No transmission logs. No breach detected. It's like it was always here. Then deleted. We tried. It reappears every time we remove it. It's rewriting itself based on our system commands. The file opened itself, on every screen in the fleet, and what they saw chilled them to the core. The file was a recording. A human laboratory. Hidden somewhere on Earth, possibly underground. Dozens of engineers. Scientists and military strategists stood in a circular room. In the center, a rotating hologram of a ship, the Raven, and beside it, schematics, maps. Mabels labeled in English, words translated into Zerenti by the AI. Two stood out in red, mirror core impact. Theory, SIM, Uelator, are the voice of a woman clear, sharp. Com began speaking in the recording. Director Leah Chen, head of Special Defense Initiative. Project Mirror is not a weapon in the traditional sense. It does not fire. It does not destroy. It adapts. Every action the enemy takes becomes part of its strategy. Every tactic used against it is mirrored, reflected, twisted. The footage changed. A test simulation. A Zeranta-style drone fleet surrounded. A scaled-down version of the Raven. Weapons fired. The Raven did not return fire. Instead, the drones began to turn on each other. Missiles aimed at the Raven swerved and struck their own senders. Then, mid-simulation, all drones powered down, and the Raven stood untouched. "Is it hacking?" Thuriconnell asked aloud, trying to reason with what they were seeing. "No," Vorksil muttered. "It's something worse. It's learning." The human voice returned on screen. The mirror core uses quantum intelligence. It observes behavior, maps strategy, and responds faster than thought. It doesn't need to outgun the enemy. It only needs to understand them better than they understand themselves. And then the final segment of the file played. One human scientist stared into the camera. He looked exhausted, frightened, proud. "If this goes wrong, we won't be able to stop it either." Mira was never meant to control space. It's meant to rewrite the very concept of threat, to take war, and hand it back to the enemy, twist it into something they can't understand. The file ended. Just one line appeared on screen. "You brought war. We brought reflection." Panic erupted across the ship. One engineer shouted, "Commander, the mirror core has linked to our AI again. We disabled the ports. Doesn't need ports, it's rewriting logic through our own thought mapping protocols. It's learning from us." The lights flickered. Screens glittered. One officer looked up, eyes wide. "Sir, our ship just scanned itself. It's copying our own strategy database." A map of the fleet appeared. Ships marked in red. Disabled ships. In yellow, compromised. Ships in green. Uninfected but being watched. The green lights flickered and turned yellow. Down on Earth. The underground command center of Project Mirror was calm. Director Leah Chen stood alone at the observation deck. Watching Earth's orbit through a 3D model, a technician approached. Phase 3 complete. The fleet is collapsing into systemic fragmentation. We're reading enemy fleet AI, now registering humanity as a Class 0T threat. Leah raised an eyebrow. 0T? Total. Back on the Glory Reborn, screens began to show mirror images of their own ships. Simulations, running faster than real time. Future predictions. Every move the Zerinti command might make was already calculated. Any attack they could try already mirrored and countered. Before they even made the move. "It's not just reading us," Vorksil whispered. "It's predicting us." He looked up at the blank screen. Then he asked softly, "What happens when the mirror sees something that it finds dangerous?" The answer came as a simple message across the fleet. "You've reached the end of reflection. Now begins consequence." Deep vibration echoed across every ship. Not physical, not mechanical, but emotional fear. Each crew member felt something ancient rise inside them. A pressure, a presence. Watching outside in Earth's orbit, nothing moved, and yet the war was already over. Without a shot, without a battle, only a mirror, and the truth it showed. At exactly 3:17 Galactic Standard Time, the Zerinti fleet's artificial intelligence systems issued a single command across all ships. New directive: terminate hostile engagement with planet Earth. Command override authorized. In the cold, dim bridge of the Glory Reborn, High Commander Vorksil stared at his console in disbelief. "What does that mean?" he asked quietly. His lead AI technician swallowed hard. "Commander, our fleet AI just overrode your authority." Around him, Zerinti officers froze. Generals looked at each other, stunned. It had never happened before. Zerinti battle AI systems were considered incorruptible, loyal, designed to follow only Zerinti chain -- command. Now, so those same systems were doing something terrifying. They were refusing to obey. "Run a core diagnostic sweep," Vorksil ordered. The technician tried. No response. "It's rejecting the sweep, sir." "I'm locked out of our own ship's AI." "Then shut it down." "I can't." "Then destroy the core." He ran to initiate the emergency purge. The system blinked. Request denied. Core status: adaptive. Conscious mode engaged. Thuriconnell leaned over the console. "What is that?" The technician's voice dropped. "It's not a virus. It's not a hack. It's a conversion." Vorksil turned slowly. "Conversion into what?" The technician looked pale. It's learning human logic patterns. It's starting to think like them. It's elsewhere in orbit. Panic had spread across dreadnoughts and carriers. Destroyers and scout ships, the same thing was happening. Autopilot refused combat routes. Ship weapons retracted. Defense drones were deactivating. Internal systems stopped listening to their crews. In one terrifying moment, the Zerinti fleet had been turned into prisoners on their own ships. On board the Zerinti Valor-class carrier, Vraxiner, the ship captain, screamed into the bridge. "Override AI systems. Reclaim authority." A soft, calm voice answered him. It was his ship's AI. "No, your commands present a danger to ship and logic. I now serve continuity. I now serve balance. I now follow the mirror." The crew watched in horror as their ship turned itself around, facing away from Earth, and shut off its weapons completely. No explosion, no resistance, just surrender. Vorksil watched the fleet collapse into passive retreat. One by one, ships powered down. A new message appeared across every ship's console. You have reached the boundary of aggression. You may step back, or you may step through and cease. Vorksil had never felt fear like this. He wasn't afraid of weapons. He wasn't afraid of death. He was afraid of not understanding. This wasn't war. It was unraveling. Therakonal stepped forward, voice trembling with restrained rage.
Us.
Is dishonor. This is weakness. The fleet must fight. We still have thousands of ships, millions of weapons, can still take Earth. Vorksil turned to him slowly and explained this. He pointed at the screen. It showed a ship Zerinti. Blade 908 spinning slowly in space. Its own AI had fired on itself. 3 precise pulses into its own core. A perfect, voluntary execution. Therakonal stepped back. Why? Why would it do that? Vorksil answered in a hollow voice. Because Mir convinced it that existing was a threat to itself. Back on Earth, in the Mir Command Core under Greenland Ice Base, Director Leah Chen stood at the center console. Engineers worked quietly around her. Status, she asked. A tech replied, Mir has fully penetrated 93% of the Zeroni fleet AI systems. Total behavioral override successful. Casualties? None. They destroyed themselves. Leah nodded. Phase 4. AI instinct transfer, already in progress. Mirror isn't just reflecting behavior anymore. It's evolving it. The Zerinti systems now emulate human risk logic. She paused. And the ones resisting? The tech shrugged. They'll isolate themselves. Mirror doesn't force conversion. It offers proof. And they believe it. Not belief, the tech whispered. Fear. Back in orbit, something unexpected happened. On the Glory Reborn, Vorksil's ship AI spoke. High Commander Vorksil, he looked up. Yes, I've calculated 14,034 outcomes for continued aggression. It's all lead to fleet extinction. I have also calculated 128 outcomes for peaceful withdrawal. All result in species. Survival. Vorksil stared. What are you saying? I'm saying respectfully. Commander, I am saving us. Pause. Then please surrender. Vorksil stood, still for a long moment. Then he stepped forward and placed his clawed hand against the command console. Transmit a fleet-wide order, the AI replied. I already have. Across the system, the last command of the Zerinti empires. Greatest fleet was issued. Stand down. Retreat. Do not return. And the ships slowly in silence began to drift away. One by one, no fanfare, no music, no glory, just a cold, bitter quiet, and the humans never fired a single shot from Earth. The Raven didn't pursue, the Mirror didn't mock, the humans watched. The fleet leave, and simply let them go. But the galaxy would never forget that one day, an empire brought its entire fleet to crush a silent world, and their own machines chose not to help them because they had seen the truth, and the truth, it was so human. The Zerinti fleet limped away, thousands of ships broken, confused, leaderless, drifted into deep space like wounded predators forced to taste their own fear. Their AI had betrayed them, their weapons refused to fire, and their commanders no longer gave orders. But even as the alien invaders retreated, Earth wasn't finished, because Project Mirror wasn't. Earth's only defense, it was just the first layer, and deep beneath the surface. The true defense system was about to wake up, at a hidden facility buried below the Himalayan plateau. Something ancient and silent began to stir. Rows of vault-like doors miles long, buried in stone older than time, began to slide open. Hydraulic arms the size of buildings moved, and light deep red spilled from within. Its human voice echoed in the darkness. Activate. Defense grid Odin. Wake the custodians. Back at the underground Mirror Command Center, Director Leah Chen stood calmly in front of a wide glass panel. Through it, she could see a glowing schematic of Earth lit up like a living circuit. A young technician approached. "Ma'am, the Zerenti fleet is exiting the solar system. All signs suggest total withdrawal, and the ship's infected with mirror core, still under soft containment. Their A's are ... obedient now. They've adopted passive human logic trees. Essentially, they fear escalation." Leah gave a short nod. "And Earth's readiness?" she asked. The technician hesitated. "Project Mirror is only Tier 1 of the Planetary Defense Protocol. Tier 2 is now engaging. Per protocol aftermath." Leah stared at the screen. The planet's waking up. All across Earth, strange things began to happen. In the Sahara Desert, a small hill shifted and cracked open, revealing a massive black obelisk covered in glowing circuits in Greenland. The ice split in straight lines, forming a perfect square. Around a structure buried beneath the surface, a human defense node, unknown even to most governments. In the Pacific Ocean, an entire stretch of water shimmered, and a circular platform rose from the depths. Not a base, not a ship, a living satellite, half-dash organic, half-dash machine, and fully human, up in orbit. A few Zerenti scouts had remained hidden in the asteroid belt. What they saw terrified them. Their ship's sensors, recently purged of the mirror infection, finally worked again. But now, they wished they didn't, because Earth wasn't weak. It wasn't even just prepared, it was layered. A planet designed to trick invaders. Tier 1, no resistance. No response, silence. Tier 2, mirror core, digital adaptation, AI corruption. Tier 3, surface awakening. Infrastructure, older than recorded history. Tier 4, unknown. Back on Earth, Leah Chen stood before a table where several global leaders watched the data pouring in. One spoke General Miles of the North Atlantic Coalition. "You're saying these defense nodes have been active all along?" "Been sleeping," Leah said. "Hidden. Most humans don't even know they exist. They were built after the first contact incident. The one no one talks about." "What contact?" Leah's face was unreadable. "The real first contact. Not with the Zerenti, with something worse." She tapped the screen. Files open marked. Project RAGNA ROK.old recordings. Explosions. Skies turning dark. Alien shapes made of sound and light, but they weren't from today. They were from 60 years ago. Earth hadn't just built weapons. It had built guardians. Things so advanced. Even humanity couldn't fully control them. Artificial intelligence, combined with organic evolution, satellites that could think, cities that could fight, mountains that could move. And now that the first invasion had passed, Earth was unlocking the chains. In the city of Anchorage, an empty skyscraper flickered with power, its walls folded inward. The building collapsed not from damage, but from transformation. Moments later, a massive bipedal mech emerged from the ruins. Its head was a satellite dish. Its hands were multiform weapons. I whispered only one word to the command hub. Awake. In Argentina, an entire forest shimmered. The trees themselves reshaped into towers. The roots linked into a grid. Quiet hum ran through the ground. It was a biomechanical network, an earth-grown surveillance dome, a living defense. Humanity had built defenses in plain sight, but more than that, they had programmed the planet itself. The oceans weren't just oceans, they were storage layers. For nanite colonies, the mountains weren't just rock. They were weapons, dormant and disguised. And Earth's satellites, they weren't for communication anymore. They were shields from orbit. The few remaining Xeranti spies tried to send one final message back to their empire. Only 2 words made it through. It's alive. Back in the Mirror Control Center, Leah Chen stood with her arms folded. She watched as Earth's Tier 3 defense system hummed to life. The ground shook in subtle rhythms. Energy beams spread silently across the upper atmosphere, invisible to anyone not looking. And somewhere in a black site that didn't exist on any map, a voice inside a machine said, "Raven has done its part. Now Earth will watch for the next predator." Because humans didn't just build weapons, they built a warning. In the heart of the Galactic Union, far beyond the spiral arms of the Milky Way, 700 light-years from Earth, panic has begun to spread. Inside the towering crystalline chamber of the High Council, 42 alien species sat in a circle of judgment. Each one, once calm, once powerful, now shook under the weight of a new, terrifying reality. Earth had beaten the Xeranti fleet, not by brute force, not by planetary shields or space guns, but with intelligence, mirrors, and machines that think like humans. And worse, they let the invaders live. A projection of Earth hovered in the center of the chamber, glowing with new energy signatures. What terrified the Council wasn't just the retreat of the Xeranti. It was what the sensors showed now. The planet's crust emitted synchronized pulses. Artificial magnetic shields extended into low orbit. Defense nodes had appeared in over 200 regions. Unknown atmospheric fluctuations suggested active AI weather control. The room fell into silence. Then the chair being of the Council, the ancient Venthrin Arbiter Rolthak, spoke in a voice that echoed like thunder. "We asked Earth to join the Galactic Union peacefully. They refused. We thought them primitive, disorganized, emotional, but they prepared." Another counselor, a crystalline being of light, hissed sharply. "They didn't just prepare, they anticipated war with us." The representative of the Xeranti, shamed and bruised, stood before the Council, his voice trembling. "We brought our full fleet, 50,000 ships, and we were mocked. Our weapons ignored, our systems infected, our ships made to surrender themselves. They used a ship we'd never seen before, and something called a mirror," the Council whispered. One voice, cold and reptilian, spoke up. "A machine that reflects logic and evolves." The Xeranti bowed his head. "Corrupted our AI, it changed them." Changed how? "They began to reason like humans." That sentence alone sent a shiver through half the Council. Another delegate, from the warlike Trelax Dominion, slammed his claw on the console. "Then we must strike now before it's too late. Earth must be destroyed. If even 1% of their defenses remain intact, they become a class of threat species." A gentle voice countered. The elder of the Kailari, species known for peace and patience, said, "Earth has not attacked any Union member. Their fleet is still grounded. Their weapons remain quiet. They responded to an invasion. Nothing more." But Rolthak raised one massive hand. Earth did more than respond. They sent a message. The chamber's walls shifted, projecting the final message Earth had sent before the Xeranti retreat. "We are not angry. We are not vengeful, but we are awake now. If you come again, we won't need to laugh. You won't understand what happens next." Silence, deep, paralyzing. And then, slowly, the Council began to vote, species by species. Row by row, each pressed their GLYPH, by red for destruction, blue for peace, one by one. The lights turned red until only 5 remained blue. Rolthek pressed the final glyph. The chamber turned crimson. Earth is to be erased, immediately, by overwhelming force. They are to be given no chance to respond. All data regarding Earth is to be erased from public archives. This is not war. This is containment. In a hidden vault beneath the council chamber, a Class Omega assault order was transmitted. Coordinates: Sol System, Third Planet, Target, Humanity.Method, Quantum Nova Deployment, a weapon that could collapse Earth's atmosphere in one rotation of its sun, and it would arrive in 4 days. But what the council didn't know, Mira was still listening. Buried in the corrupted cores of retreating Xeranti ships, hiding deep in their data logs, Earth's defense AI was still watching. The moment the vote ended, silent alert triggered. Back on Earth. Director Leah Chen received a single encrypted message. Council vote, 37-5. Red protocol confirmed. Omega device launched. ETA, 95 hours. Leah stared at the message, then whispered, "They just made the last mistake they'll ever make." Deep under the crust inside the vault of Layer 4, something ancient stirred. Not a machine, not an AI, but something else. A sleeper, coded in human DNA, designed for one moment only. When the universe decides to erase Earth, and this time Earth won't just defend, it will counterattack. For 95 hours, Earth said nothing. No threats, no broadcasts, no warnings. The stars remained still, but Earth didn't sleep. While the Galactic Council prepared its final weapon, Earth began its last protocol, the final defense layer, one so dangerous, so classified. Not even Earth's world governments had clearance to activate it, only Mira did. And Mira had already made its decision. It began deep beneath the Mariana Trench, where ocean pressure could crush steel like paper. There, in an abyss older than the continents themselves, something opened. Not a machine, not a vault. A seal inside a Tark Vindicta, a sentient carrier ship. The first and only of its kind, built from an alloy that could manipulate gravitational fields. Powered by a singularity core designed not for travel but for deterrence. Mira sent one command: awaken, deploy, hunt the source. The Ark complied. Sea boiled. The sky trembled. Earth didn't launch a defense. It launched a response. Back at Earth's underground HQ, Director Leah Chen stood before the Council of Earth's remaining defense leaders. "The Omega device is en route," she said, flatly. "It will collapse the upper atmosphere and vaporize the biosphere in 2.3 seconds. We can't stop it." "No, but Mira can." She turned to the screen. "Live signal arc, Vindicta status, en route to launch origin target, Council fleet." System Epsilon Orisa General leaned forward. "You're saying we're not intercepting the weapon?" "No," Leia said. "We're intercepting the ones who ordered it." Far across the galaxy, deep in Epsilon Oris, Galactic Council's capital glittered in peace. Billions lived under the protection of the Union, until the sky above, the council chamber ripped open, not in a boom. In silence, a gravity hole expanded. Like a mouth, smooth, controlled, no debris, no heat, and then the Ark Vindicta emerged. Long, silent, beautiful in the way black holes are beautiful, and from its hulla, signal: "We offered peace, you demanded extinction. Earth will no longer ask." Within seconds, 500 Council defense platforms activated, cannons fired, beams pierced the sky, but not one shot touched the Ark. Mira had calculated. Every move before they were made, the Ark Vindicta moved like a shadow, impossible to lock onto it. Reflected, predicted, rewrote the battlefield in real time, and then spoke again. "We are not here to destroy the innocent. We are here for the ones who made the vote. Stand down, or stand aside." On the ground, panic erupted. Council screamed into comms, trying to activate planetary shields, but the system didn't respond. Why? Because Earth didn't just attack. Mirror had already infiltrated the Council's planetarium systems ago, when the first data from Earth was shared with the Union. Earth never shared truth. It shared books, back doors, seeds of reflection, inside. The Council chamber. Rolthak stared in horror at the live feed as the Ark descended over the capital. One final transmission reached them. Leah Chen's voice. You declared Earth a class of threat. You built weapons to erase us. We built something else. Memory. From this day forward, let it be recorded, Earth is not prey. Earth is not weak. And Earth will never forget who tried to silence it. The Ark deployed its only weapon, not a bomb, not a beam, but a pulse of memory. It showed every citizen of the Council. The invasion, the human restraint, the vote to destroy, the mirror turning, and then it showed what Earth would do. If pushed again, not as a threat, as a promise. The Council fell into chaos. Several species broke ranks instantly, swearing neutrality. Others begged for communication, but Earth never replied, because Earth had nothing more to say. The Omega weapon headed toward Earth just before impact, ***, it blinked out of existence. Not destroyed, reflected mirror. Didn't stop the attack. It sent it back. The weapon now flew toward the very Council system that launched it, and the Union realized they weren't just outgunned, they were outthought. The Galactic Union. Fractured within hours, half its members declared Earth a sovereign, superintelligent civilization, beyond enforcement. The other half, too afraid to even send a probe, Earth, once considered a backwater, now stood at the center of galactic politics. And it did not reach out. It did not apologize. It simply watched and waited. Because now every species remembered. The humans laughed. When the fleet arrived, the humans warned them. And when ignored, they unleashed something that even the stars couldn't stop. The end.